some stuff to go over today, and that would be a bunch of CMEs headed our way. We've already been hit with some geomagnetic storm conditions. The sun's also hit a 20-year high as far as sunspot numbers at close to 300. We're going to talk about that too. We should expect some extreme aurora this coming week because we got like six more solar storms headed this way. Also, guys, that big, humongous sunspot, it's right facing us again, and there's one in the northern hemisphere of the sun also. But yeah, and we should expect some fireballs. We got like 130 of them right now. We are going through a meteor shower, and we'll go over some more of that as we get moving here. But if somebody could give me a 5 for 5, we will do just that. So away we go, people. What is happening? Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody's had a good weekend. Sorry I didn't stream yesterday, but yeah, we had some stuff going on here at my house. I had my nephew for the evening, and we're having some fun. So 9 by 9, huh, Hilly? Heck yeah, guys. Heck yeah. So yeah, let me start with this real quick, okay, guys? You know how Wages World does it, right? I mean, we try to take care of each other. That's just what we do here. We are not vindictive, mean people, those kinds of things. We're not doing any of that kind of stuff. So with that being said, I would love for everybody to send some prayers and good thoughts and stuff over to Dr. Tamitha Scove. She's been fighting the COV-19, 19er. So if you could, guys, please just put it on the prayer list. Her and her daughter, I guess, are that way. I haven't talked to her. I just seen it in one of her comment sections. She was posting why she hadn't done a live stream here during all this so far, and that's why she's been fighting that. And her daughter both are. And it's just amazing to me how disgusting people can be when people are down like that. And so I'm sure she could use some good pepped up. So if you could go over and just drop a good comment over there, just tell her that we're all thinking about her, and hopefully she's getting better, and we're going to send prayers her way. So if you could do that for me, that would be great. Now, okay, so guys, we got this big event, is what I'm going to call it. And I am going to call it a big event because this is something that is not expected. These are very, very, how can I put this? Now, it's hard to put it in words because there's so many things happening, and there's going to be so many things up and down with this, what I'm getting ready to talk about. And it's basically this right here. Okay, so I'm going to just play this model right here. Well, first off, I guess what I should do is explain what the model is. This is over at NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center. It's where most of my data comes from. It's where all the models and stuff, you can go to the bottom of this page, and you will see it. Okay? So with that being said, this is a CME tracker, and that's what model's supposed to be doing. And it's doing it's doing its thing. Now, what it does is it takes present time and then goes back 2 days, 48 hours of historic data, and it will plot it, right? And then it tries to forecast out 5 days. Now, most of you guys that have ever been watching me for a long time, and I've been saying this a lot lately, has probably never seen it look like this. Okay? And I'm talking about this spaghetti line here. Okay? And the reason why is there are so many CMEs coming. Each peak here, most likely, is a separate CME hit. Okay? Does it mean it's going to be, run for the hills time? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. So please don't take that, don't think I'm saying that, because it's not what it is. Like I said before, on that end of it, if that's the case, that'll be the first thing that comes out of my mouth. And I don't think this is the case this time. So, we will just push forward with that. But, guys, I'm just going to back this spaghetti model up. And you know what, guys? I think I might do this just a little bit different, okay? Because I do think it's important for us to understand. Oh, see? This is exactly what I thought was getting ready to happen, too. I'm glad it happened. Up here, guys, at the top of this Space Weather Prediction Center, and what this is the Space Weather Dashboard. Okay, if you go down the bottom of any NOAA site over here, okay, under the subtitle dashboards, you can go down to any of these and click on whatever we want to look at. We typically look at the Space Weather Enthusiast. That's the one I'm on right now. What they've done is they've just pulled a bunch of different models that are relating to these subtopics here. Okay, so anything with Aurora that NOAA has, it's going to put it here on this dashboard. And I've actually got that one right here. Okay, because thank you for speaking up. I can't remember who put it in the comment section, but they asked me not to skip over that. And let me clarify that also. I don't skip over it on purpose, number one. Number two, if I do skip over it, most likely I don't think anything is going on with it. Okay? Typically, this is one, I've said this for a long time too, this is one of the main indicators that we're getting hit with geomagnetic activity. As soon as we start getting hit with geomagnetic activity that's actually changing our storm level, our KP index, the aurora start to increase. So it's just a natural thing, you know, natural way of things. Things come in on the poles easier. Where is this at? It's on the pole, right? So that's why it affects it almost immediately. You can see aurora depending on where you're at in the world. Obviously, if it's the day side over here, the other side of the world is going to get to see it. Now, if it hangs on for a while, if we get into a longer lasting geomagnetic storm, then we get to see it, right? Now, this is increasing as we speak, okay? And I seen it earlier, and there wasn't much here. It was just a little bit of green. Then I started seeing a little bit of yellow, and I thought, man, you know what? I bet our space weather conditions are increasing, at least the intensity of them, and that's exactly what's happening. You guys know I harp on the BZ, but before we get too far, let's just do it this way because, well, you know what? Let's just stay here. It's just as easy to do it this way, I guess. There's a dashboard, not really a dashboard, but they actually have a page just with this on it. But it's okay to do it like this. So what I'm going to do here, guys, remember, it's 2 days historic and then 5 days forecasted, right? So, as I move forward here, you can see that those things, that one there, this was updated just a little bit before the turn of the day on the 11th. That's when they updated this model. And they will change what they forecast if the data is showing something different as they get closer. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. That's almost unique for the models that we get to see. Because usually they'll come out with a model run and they don't have either the staff to keep updating it and letting it be there for whatever site we're on. Because remember, a lot of the sites we go to, they're being ran by colleges and agencies and this, that. I mean, they're getting the data from the same satellites, but the school or the agency are the ones responsible for getting that data there. So they get to choose how it looks, pretty much. Okay, so with that being said, you get 2 days historic and 5 days out in advance. And obviously, I don't trust it out 5 days completely. That's just a ballpark for me out there, and I think it is for most. I don't think they intended for that to be exact. They would love for it to be, but I don't know how close they could get with that. But anyway, so as I back this off, and you can see, so that was one of the first CMEs. Now you can look at the bottom or the top one here. Really, for this application, doesn't really matter at this time. But what you're looking at on the top is density. Okay, you can look at the scale here, and then if you want to look at the bottom, that's velocity. It's not going to show you density, it's going to show you velocity, and vice versa up here. Now the green line, conditions at Earth. Red line, conditions at Stereo A. It's a satellite out there. Yes, and Stereo B is there too. Okay, so yeah, there you go. That's the conditions. That's what we're looking at here. And so as we move forward here, look what's happening. It's just a train of CMEs. Okay, boom, boom. And what's interesting is this one right here. Okay, because this is where I want to draw your guys' attention to the most. Because I do think that if we're going to get into some bigger geomagnetic storming, I think it's going to come about right here. It's going to start right there. Um, but for this first one, we actually got hit yesterday. Okay, so let me go up here and I'll show you what I mean. Because we're technically, guys, into the 13th now UTC time. It's a 4-hour difference if you're in Eastern Standard. But yeah. So and by the way, guys, I'm sure you guys noticed the way I started the video was different. I got some really good advice from a really good friend, and I changed that. And I can't tell you how much it's changed the way the algorithm is actually seeing my channel. It's amazing. I couldn't believe just that small change I made such a huge difference. And to the person that gave me that advice, thank you. He knows who he is, and if he wants to say it, it's not going to matter to me. I don't care. It's not like that. It's just, I would say his name all day long. I just haven't asked him if he wanted me to say that. So, he's a good friend of mine, and he's a good person. Most of you guys know him. I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, look at this geomagnetic stuff here. Right? So anytime it's a 5 on the KP, that's the first threshold for a G1 storm. Now, G1 storm is the lowest level of storm, so actually, obviously I should say, it should really not do a whole lot except for what? Aurora. Okay, now it will do certain other things too. Now, the further that you are towards the poles, the more it's going to have an effect. Because really, if we were to do, and I can't really do this because I just don't have the time, I could show you that the forecast for people that live up towards the poles or down towards the poles in the southern hemisphere, their forecasting is different because they're closer to all that stuff. So the storm conditions are actually risen. And as you get down towards mid-latitudes where most of us live, that's what I'm showing you here. Okay, now low latitudes, that's the equator, right? Yeah, very seldom does space... Oh, look at that. Hey, I'm telling you, we're getting hit right now, guys, okay? You see that? Remember when I just started this stream, it said G1 right there? Now we're up to a G2. With us jumping straight to a G2 right there, I would guess within, maybe before this stream is over, we may be to a G3. Because if it's going to jump straight that high, like that, typically it's not going to stop, at least that quickly. And we've all been talking about a G3 anyway. That's what most people have kind of landed on for the strength of this storm. But I can confidently tell you right now, this is what's happening. This is real time. Okay? This is why I nowcast. I'm glad I waited till now to do this because now you guys get to see it like this. So that's just, I'm really glad you guys get to see this because it does, helps people understand more when it's happening right in front of them. And I've seen it because I watch these models all the time. But to be live, it adds another dynamic to it and lets you guys see exactly what's going on. So what I'm going to do now because of that, okay, so what I'm going to do is come down here to this model again, and I'm going to bring this to where we are in time. So we are at the turn of the day on the 12th, okay? So right here is basically this, okay, right here in the middle. That's where we're at, right there, right? We're at the turn of the day on the 12th if I run it to there, right? So we're kind of right there. So we're in that first initial uptick as far as what they're forecasting. And let me tell you something. If this pans out like it looks like it is, they hit this one right on the head. Because that's like, you don't get no closer than that. They give themselves, I think it's a plus or minus 7 hours on both sides for just typical mathematical mistakes or just that's the mistake allowed for with the models, right? So with that being said, yeah, so that definitely could, yeah, unless this kind of hit earlier, maybe this stuff, maybe these two are here earlier than expected. And if that's the case, then it'll probably get even stronger. And that's also something I want to point out too. this here, this first one that hit, it didn't arrive early, and I'm really not sure if it actually was in the 7-hour time frame or not, but it seemed to me like it arrived just a little bit late. And because we're showing you the CMEs and stuff that are hitting, why didn't it put us up into bigger storm level, right? Because we were just at a G1 on that storm right here, right? So if we look at the Discover data, I can show you what happened. Okay, so and the biggest thing I want to show you, obviously, for most people that have heard me for however long, the BZ is the driving thing behind this. Okay, the BZ is the magnetic positioning, negative, positive. I'm not going to get into a big detailed explanation tonight. I got too much to go over. But we look for -6 on this red line here. Now, when it's -6, that means we are in magnetically in a position to really draw things in, right? Now, if we're in the positive, it has the exact opposite effect. Okay, so on the Discover graph here, when it gets to -6, it'll highlight it here in this purple color. At least it's purple for me, kind of like a lavender. Whatever your display has it, you can look at the number. But I want to show you guys this right here. You see this scale? Usually this scale is like 0 to 10. Negative all the way here, and 0 to positive 10 up here. It's at 30 right now. They've changed the scale so we can see it. What's happening here is we went almost like -20. So when that happens, we're really, really drawing, it's able to draw the stuff in. Now, also, with this density, okay, usually this density is 0 to 10, not 0 to 1,000, okay? We call 4, like, ambient normal conditions, but I don't really kind of buy into that. That's to me, all these things have to kind of fall into place, but if you're looking at one data point and you look at density, we would consider 4 normal, I guess, if you want to use those words. But as you can tell, it's been hanging right around 30, 40 all day long. Okay, so why weren't we in geomagnetic storming until now? The BZ, guys. Look. It's been in the positive all day. This is why. Okay? So that's why we talk about, hey, we got to really, we got to pay attention here, because this isn't something that is just automatic. Yes, we can get hit. And yes, we still went to a G1, even being in the positive. That right there should tell you more than just about anything I'm saying. That was a pretty decent hit. Okay, so when you get hit and the BZ's in the positive, and you still go into a geomagnetic storm, that is a significant CME to do that. Okay, now it's not like grid down CME or anything like that. I'm just saying it takes a pretty decent hit, right? Also, the speed, it's elevated too. 3 to 500 is what we would consider normal. Now, if it gets to 500 and we have this density and our BZ goes negative, that's kind of what we're seeing right now, and that's why we're going into a higher level of geomagnetic storming. Okay. So enough of that boring graph. I know it's not the funnest thing to look at, but it is what it is. Now, the other thing I want to show you, and I didn't have this one pulled up, I just plain forgot. Before I show you that though, here's the KP, right? These are 3-hour averages. Okay, these bars represent 3 hours of data, and they average it, and that's where they put it at. Okay, it's very simple. It's just it's very simple math to figure that out. You just got 3 hours of not exactly sure the data itself, how often they take it, and then they just divide it by how many times they entered the data. I'm assuming it's probably like every 5 minutes they'll take a data reading or something like that, and then just divide it and get their 3-hour average, right? But what that does, it's good for just an overall look, and it does kind of help you understand where the average falls. But if you want to know what's actually happening closer to real time, we can go look at the HP. The HP is the same indice pretty much, except it's a 30-minute data plot. Okay? So back here is when we went into our first geomagnetic storm earlier today, right? Now look what's happening here. Okay, see, we were only at a G1, but did you see back here earlier in this one? That's G2 level. So all this stuff here averaged out, including this one, for the 3 hour, like between, what time was that frame? About the 9 o'clock, midday type of time frame there. So we're looking in this area here, right? So he took all those data points, gave it an average, and it landed G1. But in all reality, for at least a few minutes, we were at G2. Look what's going on here. Okay? G2 up here. G2 still. So, it did go down a little bit right there, and I could probably show you here in the discovered data. The BZ probably went back at least a little bit more to the north. I didn't look, but we can. Let's look real quick. I'm just curious. Yeah, sure enough, look. See? That's what I mean, guys. That's how the BZ affects how we get hit. Okay? It went like way positive right there for a minute. It went from 18 negative to 13 positive, snap of your finger. Okay? So that right there should help people understand how important that one data point is. Okay? That's why I harp on it all the time. We can get the biggest stuff coming at us, and if our BZ is not in that right position, it ain't going to do nothing. Nothing significant. Our magnetic field is going to do what our magnetic field does and deflect things. That's why it's there. Well, that's not why it's there. I'm glad it's there. I'll just say that. Anyway, so there's your HP and there's all that. That's exactly what's happening right now. Now, what I do want to point out is I got you guys over here at Soho, okay? Soho is, actually, let's just back that off to the beginning. Here's Soho, right? This is the satellite, a million miles closer to the sun than what we are. Our perspective. That's all you got to know. You went outside, you looked up. If you were a million miles closer to the sun than what you are right now, you'd be standing there with Soho. Now, on this satellite is the LASCO C2 instrument. Okay? It is a coronagraph. Alright? And that's what we see here. Okay, you got a difference image, black and white. You got your regular coronagraph stuff over here. Now, let me go back up here, and we're going to start back here on the 8th. At least I think that's where I started. Might have been the 7th. I can't remember. I think it was the 7th. Let's go back one more day here. Yeah, it was. You could see halo eruptions happening, right? And I'll stop it and show you. I've already shown you guys this before. This is a black occulter disc. It's always there. It's a physical disc on the instrument, okay? It blocks the main light of the sun. That's its purpose. We have to do that so we can even get a image at all. It would be overexposed with all the light from the sun. We wouldn't get any image at all. If you look on some of the other coronagraphs, like over here on Stereo A, which is the other satellite, I'm not going to show it to you right now, but you can see the arm that actually holds it. It's there too. So it's a physical thing that's going on there. So when we say it's a halo image, that means we're seeing energy kind of symmetrically just going around this circle, right? It's just because it looks like a halo to our eyes. It means absolutely nothing scientifically. It just means that's what it looks like to us. That's the name we gave it, right? So when we see that, what's that mean to us? Well, that means it's right behind this occulter disc. What does that mean? That means one of two things. That means it's either coming right at us or it's going right out the back. And then, in a big, huge one, obviously you want it going the other way. But whenever we see these halo signatures, we obviously we stop and we pay attention. Okay? And we start to look at the data a little bit heavier, go look at some other satellites and see which direction this is going. Because we want to know. Right? And just because something's coming right at us and hits us, like I just showed you guys a little while ago, doesn't mean we're going into geomagnetic storms at all. Again, like I said, all that data stuff has to line up, and you can't just rely on one data point. You simply just cannot. And I see a lot of people doing that, and then when they say, hey, well, oh my gosh, now it's a nothing burger, it's not really a nothing burger when you look at the data, because I can show you how big of a hit it was, even though we didn't get to geomagnetic storming. I showed you why we didn't. The next time this happens, maybe it ain't the case. Maybe that's the time our BZ's in the negatives, and we get to what we did back here in May with the G5 storm stuff, right? Just saying. So be careful. Be careful talking like that. Just saying. I've made mistakes like that myself, and it's not fun coming out and admitting that kind of stuff and, eating a bunch of crow and taking your foot out your mouth. So, just so you know. Anyway, so that was one eruption, and there's a bunch of them here, guys. There's another right about there, okay? You can see it. You can even kind of get precursors to these CMEs that are blowing off, even on these coronagraphs. Let me show you. Hold on a minute here. Okay, so that's a normal image right there, right? Now watch this. You see that white? Now when we run the movie, that's just a little flicker. But what's happening there is it flared. We had a flare. And it produced a CME. That's what happened right there. And it's only there for a second because that's what flares do. Right? So, and there you have it. Just saying. Now, let's go to the next day. The C8. And we're going to go right on up here to the 11th. I'm just going to let this thing run. I can take you and show you individual ones down in the ones where they pull them out. When it sees a CME, it'll pull it out and give you just those frames. But as you can tell here on the 9th, there's some action. Now I know that we're not seeing the big blast of stuff off to the side, right? Well, when they're off to the side, they're not necessarily coming right at us. So most of the time, the ones that are coming right at us are going to be partially blocked by this occulter disc on the imager. And we're really not seeing the whole brunt of it until we see it go out in all directions, and we can usually tell because we're going to be going to the other satellites to look. Now, here's on the 10th, and again, you got more eruptions, halo eruptions, just happening left and right. I mean, yeah, I've not seen something like this in quite some time, and it's, and again, guys, I'm not saying that we're going to head for any kind of grid down. I don't think any of these CMEs are really all that strong. I think they could be added together, and that could happen. And I'm not going to sit here and try to, pretend that can't happen, because it can. But I'm also not going to sit here and overplay it like it's absolutely going to happen. And yeah, you guys know what I'm saying there. So let's go over here to SDO. Actually, let's take you to we'll do this first. I always do this for you guys. Okay, this is the satellite. It's in geosynchronistic orbit right here. Geosynchronistic orbit means that it stays over the same part of our planet at all times. Okay? It orbits the Earth at the same speed that the Earth rotates around its axis. 15 degrees an hour. Notice I didn't use mile per hour, because that differs depending on where you're at in your perspective of your latitude. So many things depend on your latitude. So I'll just leave that at that. But as you can see here, it does this pattern. Why does it do that pattern? Well, there are a few reasons for it, but one of the things that helps with is it limits the time that there's a chance that the Earth passes between the satellite and the sun. It limits that chance. Now, it still happens a couple times a year. So the Earth actually eclipses the satellite. But this eye always stays on the sun. So, with that being said, I'm going to show you some eclipsing here because we're in the eclipse season. And we're getting real close to coming out of it. And I mentioned to you guys before, it looks really weird sometimes, right? And that right there, did you see that right there? Okay. And I'm going to explain here in just a second. I'm going to let this run. I want you guys to see this. But did you see how that kind of just blinked and it was just kind of up here? I'm going to show you something here in a second. It's probably going to blow your mind. But, and if you didn't understand what you were looking at, this would completely freak you out. And that's kind of why I'm showing it to you. Okay, so let me just back this up some more. And again, guys, it's from our perspective. Okay. All right, there went that one. I'm going to take us a frame at a time. I don't know what happened there, but sorry, guys. I don't mean to be quiet. I just want to make sure I don't miss the... Okay. Well, that was a flare. Because what's going to happen here, if I'm right, and I could be wrong, but I think it's going to stop like halfway through the shadow, and it's going to go back the other way. And it's because of that figure 8 pattern. I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so here's your eclipse. That's the Earth. All right, so the satellite's in the position that the Earth is actually in between the satellite and the sun right there. Now, did you see that? So, listen to what I'm saying. I'm going to go forward. So, on a normal eclipse, if we're going forward, right? You got that shadow. It should exit to the bottom left. Right? Watch what happens. What's that? Okay? What's happening is it appears like it stops and reverses direction. Right? So if you didn't know what's going on here, it would completely freak you out. So let me show you what's actually happening. Okay, let me go back here. I should have left that other one up, but it's no big deal. So when you get in a position, it only happens a couple times. When you're at the top, and the satellite itself is making that loop at the top of the 8, the figure 8 there, or the bottom. At certain times, that eclipse will happen right at the peak of this, and it'll catch it moving, and it'll appear to stop and reverse direction because of this. Okay? That's why. So, there you have it. I always show people that because it freaks people out. I want to explain to people because it used to freak me out too. I didn't know what that was. I had no clue what that was doing. And nobody really ever explained it to me very well either. Until I started watching other people that were way smarter than me. So, yeah. Now, I guess we could go back to data. Back here. Okay. Now, I do want to show you guys what's actually happening at this moment. Okay. As far as on the sun. Oops. I didn't put any dates in there, did I? I'm only going to show you guys a couple days here from the 10th forward. I've already showed you guys the other ones. But also, guys, don't forget we had a record-breaking, well, a 20-year high of sunspot numbers. Okay? We had 299 sunspots. And I'll explain a little bit better here in just a minute. But I want to show you guys this first. Okay, so this is that monster sunspot. It is flaring. It looks like it might even be starting to flare more than what it was. But it is actually starting to rotate out of the Earth strike zone. And that's just a rectangle here, guys. But we got one here in the north, guys, that's fairly decent size. And we got a big grouping down here. These are the ones that that hit us last time they were here. These things actually made it through. Oh, thank you, Genius by Birth. Appreciate you. That is awesome. 5 more memberships, guys. Whoever got them things, tell her thanks. That is a awesome thing. Thank you again, Genius by Birth. That is so cool. You do that it really does I have to say this too, okay? Um, I get emails all the time, okay, of people saying, please let those guys know thank you for the memberships, okay? I get gratitude emails that you guys are gifting. They're emailing me wanting me to tell you guys thanks, the ones that you guys gift. So know that most people just appreciate it straight from the get, okay? Genius by Birth, that is awesome. Thank you so much. I really, truly do appreciate it. Whoever got those, guys, please tell her thanks. I am going to go ahead and move forward, guys. You guys know I have a problem with just keep saying thank you, so I kind of cut it in half, and I don't, I'll come back to it here in a minute, okay? But just know I'm very appreciative and humble. And it goes for anybody that joins. Not just the people that gift them. Everybody that joins, it's just as important to me, guys. So, and we're going to be watching some Zoom Court, too, here in the next day or two. So turn your notifications on, members, because we're going to do that on either tomorrow or Tuesday. I haven't really decided what day because we're getting, I got a couple things I got to do this week, but not too busy. Okay, so what I want to do now, again, guys, we just got to watch this, right? So I guess what I could do, I do want to show you guys the Sunspot. Okay, I think it's this one. The Sunspots, as far as how many we've got going on. This will be the gray imaging so we can kind of really get a decent idea of how big they are. Helio viewer, guys, the one with the Earth scale I've been showing you, for whatever reason, it hasn't updated today. The data over there on all the tools on Helio viewer is not updating. It has to be a site thing because it's multiple different satellites and things. So it's there. I'm still showing you the data right here. I just don't have the Earth scale. Okay. So with that being said, as you guys can see, okay, there's the monster sunspot. All right, now if you were to go all the way across that thing, I mean, you're looking at 10 or 15 or probably 10. Okay, but look at this one, guys. All right, now what I want to say about this one, it does look like it might be getting a little bit more complex, and we can actually check that. Let me show you guys how. We can go to the colorized magnetogram, and we'll see the positive and negatives show up, right? The reds and blues. When those things start to swirl around each other, what happens? You get those reconnection events, and there's your flare. Okay? That's what happens when it flares. It's a reconnection event. And when we say things are being complex, that's what we mean. We mean usually you'll start seeing the blues and reds start to intermingle, and more of them start to pop up. Okay? You can kind of see that moving a little bit right there, right? But that right there in itself, that is a huge core. I'm not kidding, guys. That is big. That's big. But again, looks like the blue up here is winning this battle, right? So what we're going to do, we have to watch for these reds and blues getting closer to each other. That's what we do. And when they do, we tell people, hey, reconnection events can happen at any time, which means flaring. Plus, we want to know, is it holding enough energy to produce X flares? That's really what we're doing it for. But yeah, and I can confidently tell you this one's holding enough of that. If it wants to, it can blow an X flare at us at any time. Of course, like I say all the time, guys, the sun can do what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants to do it. It doesn't have to follow any rule we pretend to give it. Okay? That's just what I'll say. So, yeah. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, thank you for the gift of memberships the other day. I really do appreciate that. Awesome stuff, guys. Awesome stuff. Okay, now I do want to show you guys the 304. This is ionized helium. And I want to show you guys, up here on the top, there is a massive filament. And again, a filament is just a magnetic rope laying across there. And they do lift off, and when they do, they erupt out. That's a CME. It's plasma getting shot straight out in space, right? Now, if it's able to leave the sun. Sometimes we'll have eruptions. Guys, technically a CME is not what hits Earth. You know what hits Earth? An ICME. A CME is just a coronal mass ejection. It doesn't leave the corona, basically. The sun recaptures it. Okay? An interplanetary coronal mass ejection is what hits us and anything else other than the sun, right? It's an interplanetary. It means it left the sun. It had enough energy. It shot out. It left the sun's orbit. It's gone, right? It's out whatever direction it fired off at. So with that being said, look at that. That is a huge filament, okay? That's all connected. Now, what's a filament? Some of you guys are probably asking. It is just like what I talk about with the light bulb, the old incandescent light bulbs with the coil filament inside it. When that thing breaks, that's why when you shake it next to your ear, you can hear it rattling when your bulb blows. Okay, that filament busted. Okay, so how does that work? Well, electricity gets passed through that filament, and they purposely put a coil right in the middle of it. What for? Well, it increases friction. That friction, in turn, increases the heat. The heat, in turn, produces what? Your light. So, magnetism, this is a magnetic filament. Acts very much the same way. It'll erupt off, just like like a bulb blowing. Okay? And it can do it very violently. And what's different about a filament is they tend to be a little bit more thin in their eruptions, but they can go out in a very, very wide span. Okay, so instead of having just a central CME point location kind of coning out, with a filament, it can do it in all kinds of crazy shapes. Okay, so that's kind of the difference there. But, yeah, essentially they're both CME or ICMEs. I'm still going to call them CMEs, guys, because everybody else does. And I don't want to confuse people. Okay, but technically it is an ICME, just so you know. Now, when you see these little shadows, the sun's actually camouflaging what we can see when it erupts right in front of us. Okay, so the stuff that we get to see, like from SDO that's coming right at us, that might be like G4 storm level type of stuff, isn't going to look G4 to us. It's going to, because the reason why is the sun's camouflaging it. Now, that's just from this look, though. Now, if we get a big blast off to the side, we see it real good because of the darkness of space. It's a contrasting in color. Now, we could pull those colors out. We put them in like filters and things. But it's just, again, guys, we have time to talk about it when we have an eruption. It's not here in 2 seconds. Now, the X-ray part, whatever happens with the X-ray is here in 8 minutes. It's traveling at the speed of light. So when, guys, when an X-ray happens here, say an X1 happens here, and an X1 happens over here, it's the same to us. Why? Because light goes out equally in all directions once it's acted upon by other forces, right? So X-ray is light, it gets blasted out evenly. So if we can see it, the flare can hit us. Doesn't matter, right? CMEs are different. CMEs are actually, they have mass. They're charged particles. So it matters. It matters a lot more when we're talking about the directional movement of a CME. You don't really ever hear anybody saying, man, did you see that flare go to the left or to the east or to the... You don't hear that because it's not what's happening. It goes out equally everywhere. So, yeah, that's just what I'll say. Now, you can see, look at that. We call that solar rain. Again, it's nothing more than just plasma raining back down onto the surface from on a magnetic connection line. Let me zoom you guys in here so you guys can see that pretty good here. It's pretty cool watching this. But see, look at that. I mean, it's just really drawing from one area and right across that little loop. Now, you see these little shadows just kind of puffing here? Those are little CMEs. So, yeah. And you got, like I said, guys, I nowcast. I don't forecast because I'm just not, I don't have it. I don't have that knowledge base. I wouldn't trust myself to give you guys the correct information. Okay, that's why I don't. I get asked that question a lot, and that's why. I want you guys to know that. But I can show you and share with you my opinions, and that's kind of what I do. I'll tell you, hey, in the past couple days, this, that, and the other, right? Okay, guys, well, I go to the next graph here. Give me a roll call in there if you could. Hey, Kathy, aloha, girl. Hey, Gunslinger. Hilly's in the hizzy. Heck yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Anybody see Ilea or Trinity or anybody? Hey, Trish. Hey, Andrea. Let's see. Okay, they might be in here. I haven't been looking at the chat, guys. Just so you know. Hey, Surgery. What's up? Man. Well, I'll tell you what. Has anybody seen Jammer? Hey, Jennifer, good to see you. Florida, Christine. Hey, yeah, we'll talk about the Auroras here in a minute, Stephanie. We're going to go to that next. Hey, Kay, thank you for the gift of memberships the other day. I appreciate you. Hey, J-Man, what's up? Western Kentucky, Northwest Pennsylvania, Bobby. Pam B. That's right, she's my neighbor. One town over, guys. I'm not kidding. It's amazing how small this world is. Hey, George, where you from? That's right, I forgot. California. Love it, love it, love it. East Tennessee, baby, red wine. Cul-de-sac. Kansas City, Missouri. Tammy. Chewy, where are you from? You from Oregon. Awesome. Regarding 9 o'clock news, don't ever change your name. Because I promise you, nobody's ever, you know what? You could probably change it and change it back tomorrow because ain't nobody going to have the same name. I love it. And it's so unique. It's awesome. It's kind of like Trinity, red pill, blue pill, hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here. You guys, she's one of my mods, guys. You guys know Trinity, right? Hey, Sherry. Sherry Tackett, what's up? Indiana. Angel, what's up? Enlightened Drew Seeker, good to see you. That's pretty cool, Enlightened. That's pretty awesome. Marilyn Adams, well, hey, but Marilyn, what's going on, girl? Good to see you, Texas. Love it. Love it, love it. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Becca. Good to see you. South Utah, awesome. Good to see you, Alyssa. Okay, guys. I am going to, hey, no whining, good to see you. I love the name. Okay, so let's go over, let's talk about the Aurora for a second, okay? Listen, when we get to geomagnetic storming, we're going to have an uptick, like I explained earlier, okay? This is their forecasting. This is if we stay at these ranges. This is saying a G1. We're already to a G2. Okay, so this is going to be more increased. This one here is at a G0, basically a KP of 4. This is just under geomagnetic storm. Stephanie, you can see down here in Montana, it's definitely going to hit down here, okay? That would be expected anyway, if conditions stay the same. I can't give you 100% on that, obviously, because things change, you know, drop of a dime here. But I'll play both of these models. And this is the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, North Pole, South Pole. Yes, there's southern lights too, guys, for those that don't know. Hey, Steve, good to see you, brother. Southern California. Trish. Thank you, Trish. I appreciate that. I will definitely tell her that. She works just as hard as I do, guys. She's, yeah. She's my best friend. I can't say anything more. I guess there's nothing more to say after that. There's a reason why we've been married for over 30 years. That doesn't happen very often anymore, guys. To be honest with you, it just feels like it's been about 10. It's It's crazy. That's how you know you got it good, you know? Well, we've had our bad times just like anybody else, but, you know, um, after you get on the other side of that, for all you young people listening to me, if you go through some rough times, if you can make it to the other side, that relationship will be way more than you ever thought it could be. I promise you that. So, and I'm not talking physically either, if you know what I'm saying. That becomes less and less important the more and more you start to love somebody. I promise. Anyway, we will keep moving with that. That's my little, I'll get up on my pedestal and be a little guru for a second. Just saying. Sound back now? Thank you guys for hammering me there. Appreciate that. Pretty sure I got it back now. Give me a 5 for 5 just to make sure. Are we good now, guys? Well, thank you, Trish. Are we good now? Yeah? Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. All right. I just wanted to make sure. When that fell off the table, it pulled my headphone jack right out of my laptop. Wow. 49 years together. That's crazy. Okay, cool, guys. Just want to make sure. Now, I am going to put the chat to the side here, guys. I wish I could just keep you guys and talk to you guys all the time here, but obviously I can't. I have to do this first, right? But yeah, anyway, let me go back to what I was saying. Aurora, guys, if I repeat myself here, I apologize. I don't know where my sound cut off. But we will get an increase. If we get to G3, you guys are gonna see some Aurora pretty far south. My guess is we get to G3. A lot of times, especially as of late, cracks will open up further south than what was typically expected. Okay, hey Diane, good to see you. Aaliyah, it's okay, girl. Right, don't ever apologize, guys. I love all my mods. You guys work so hard in there, and you make this such a better place for everybody here. So please don't think ever that it's required. And Leah, I know you know that. It's just, family. That's all I can say, because I'm pretty sure that's probably what you were doing, and that's awesome. I just want to tell my mods thank you. Okay. Anyway, now guys, that Aurora is going to be kicking up. If we get to G3, cracks are probably going to open up. We're going to see Aurora further south than what these models show. Okay? Let me just back off these models. And what I'll do, guys, you come over here to the Aurora dashboard. Leah's good about the Aurora stuff, too. She's very knowledgeable when it comes to this. This is what we would expect for each KP level. So if we get to a 3, this is what the Aurora oval would look like on a normal, what they would expect it to look like. Now, obviously, it's never exact. I mean, things are fluid, right? But at the same time, this is a good ballpark. But when we see a G3 hit, and this is what we're seeing, but then all of a sudden, no storm conditions change, and we start getting reports of people showing us down in Texas, down to Florida. You know, guys, I mean, that's pretty far south for a G3, okay? I'm not trying to, like, say, oh, they're all wrong. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. We do expect cracks to open up sometimes anyway. But it does seem that things are a little bit more intense nowadays when things happen. There's a whole lot of theories why. I'm not here to get in arguments with people either. That's what would happen if I was to go that direction. Because whatever my opinion is, there's going to be somebody out there that doesn't agree with me. And it just is what it is. Again, that's why I nowcast. I don't need to tell you guys how to think or what to think. All I'm trying to do is show you what's actually happening. And you guys are smart enough. That's how we roll, right? That's why we're a good family. We don't judge each other. Anyway. So, this is what you can expect if we get these conditions. I do think that we got a good chance of getting up to G3. What are we at now? It's a G2 right this second. We can look at the HP. Okay, so you see how we went? Oh, look at that, guys. See what I'm saying? This right here just shows you what did I just say? That's a G3 for an hour. Okay? But when it shows up over here, it's not going to be. It's going to be a G2, and let me tell you why. Because you got 2 hours of data this far south. That low. Okay? So these 4 bars are going to bring that down to G2 level. That's the difference, guys. That's why I like showing you the HP also. Now, for an overall look, this is better. But for a detailed, hey, what do we got going on right this second? It's like, say we had some, like the 1989 Canadian power outage, right? If we had this tool at that time, which we didn't, okay, and we were able to look at that, I guarantee you we would see like a humongous spike for a half hour or an hour right when that power went out. That's what I'm trying to say. So we would be able to understand it better. And that's kind of the point, right? We're just trying to understand things better so we know what to expect, or at least have a better idea what might happen the next time. That's truly the goal. So we can prepare and do what we need to do. So I got this zoomed in. Okay, so this is magnetic pressure. We all understand what pressure is in magnetic, right? Sun's off to the left, all the energy's coming from left to right. Okay? This is very intense. I'll just say that. That's a very intense magnetic pressure magnetopause right here. This is our bow shock. It's our first point of contact, space weather, to our magnetic field. Right? So you'll see it. We get what we call compression. It'll compress in. All of the global circuits and I mean, this all gets compressed down. Right? And then we get what we call rapid expansion. Eventually, our magnetic field will win that battle again. And we'll see it expand way out when that happens. I explain it like this. It's the same thing when you, if I'm talking to the boys here in the room, I used to wrestle with my uncle. And he, you know, obviously, I was a kid. And my uncle could have, you know, just tore me a new one anytime he wanted. But he'd stick his hand out and right on my forehead and keep me from getting to him because his arms were longer than mine, right? So I was compressing with my head. What did he do? He would just sidestep and let me shoot straight forward and fall to the ground. That's exactly what our bow shock's doing. It's getting compressed, and then finally the uncle gives way and just steps to the side, which is the sun, and our bow shock shoots out. But it doesn't stay there. Because guess what? As a boy, I got back up. So then we go back to kind of a normal position if we're not getting hit again. Okay? So that's kind of the way I explain it. Okay, so let's, this is density. Now, the dense hit, like I said already earlier, this is a dense event. Okay, I've already shown you guys that on the, Discover data. The density is high, okay? These are high density readings. Now, I did expect to see the speed go up a little higher than what it is, because they were talking like 2.2 million miles per hour. Matter of fact, I did a video talking about that. It looked like it was coming off there at about 1,000 kilometers per second, right? That was the first initial data coming in, and that, you know, computes to about 2 million miles per hour. So yeah, that's what we were expecting. Now, guys, look, you see what's happening here? I noticed this earlier, and we're going negative and then positive again, right, with the BZ. Negative, positive, shooting straight forward again. Now we're back down to the negative. That's why we're G2. None of this stuff changed. You see what I'm saying, guys? So please understand, I know I'm like really harping on this BZ thing, but it is really one of the biggest drivers on whether or not we get anything in here at all. And when we get events like this, I do stress this because I want people to understand it. And I know you guys do. If I talk about it too much, I apologize. But I got to assume that, you know, at least some people are new to this and in here listening to me. You know what I mean? I can't just like skip past it. I can shorten it like I kind of did right there. But yeah. So whoever asked for the Aurora forecast, thank you. I will be showing it. But again, guys, whenever I don't show it, typically there's really not any kind of Aurora things going on. I'm not going to say I ain't going to make a mistake. I'm just saying that, you know, most likely I'm going to show it to you if we're looking at getting some Aurora. But I would highly, let me just say this. Let's go back to this for a second. I would highly encourage anybody that is, where's that at? Inside this red line, go outside tonight if you got good weather conditions and look. And then I would say this: if you don't see something with your naked eye, pull your cell phone out. That was one of the biggest things when we had the storm back in May, the G5 storm. We were seeing Aurora everywhere, but guess what? Where I live here in Indiana, I didn't see it with my naked eye. I didn't see it at all because I wasn't smart enough to pull my phone out. My neighbors had pictures of it. And here I am doing a space weather channel, and I'm too stupid to pull my phone out. You know how embarrassing that is? But, you know, it just is what it is. Now, but I do like to see, I want to see Aurora with my own eyes. I don't want to have to look at it through my camera. But if you guys are living in this area, please do. Ricky Spence sent me some Aurora photography. Lord Kiss Freak. Gosh, I've shown you guys that thing 1,000 times. And that thing is just amazing. He got some really good pictures. He's here in Canada, though. So, I mean, he got some really good ones. So, if you guys get some good Aurora photography, send them my way. I will show them each and every time. Okay. So, but, yeah. So, if you're here, I would even say, if you're down here, if you're in Oregon, Northern California area, it does look as though we're going to be, you know, taking some geomagnetic activity at the time when it's going to be starting to turn dark for you guys. What time is it? So we got what? It's about 7 o'clock, almost 7 o'clock, West Coast. Yeah, I mean, you guys might look out and be like in that zone. So, yeah, you really could. Because right now, that's where the Aurora is at, as we speak. So everything's going to rotate this way, right? So you can kind of imagine, see where the green's reaching down further? It's reaching down here in Indiana. So we got chances of seeing this stuff. So if you get outside and go look, that's what I'm saying. All right, now let's okay. So all right, but that guys, that is just about all I got for you, except for this. Please stick around. I shouldn't have said that because most people will hop off when I say that. I got something else here I want to talk about, okay? I'm going to take this back to the 9th. This is Dr. Tony Phillips. Got 2 more things I need to talk to you. I know it's a long live stream. Just a lot of stuff going on, okay? Where is it at? Did I go back too far? Was it yesterday? Okay, yeah. Guys, we hit a sunspot number of 299 sunspots. Okay, now, the way they figure that, how many sunspots we have, it takes some explaining to do, and I'm not going to do that tonight. But essentially, it can't be 0 if you see a sunspot. What they do is they take, I'll give you a little basic here, I guess. They take a sunspot number here, and they assign it 10, the number 10. And then for each individual core, they add 1. So, and again, guys, and there's a whole lot more to it, and I'm not going to get into the formula. But our technology is better; we're able to see it better, right? And that's what's driving some of this stuff. So, what I'm saying is, except for 20 years ago, we still had the ability to see what we're seeing now, pretty much when it comes to sunspots. But 299 is a very high number. Okay? And they're saying right now that on the far side, they think that there's more than 299. So why am I even bringing that up? Well, here's why. Here's our sun cycle, our solar cycle, right? We already came in at close to 200 here for the monthly average, right? Back here in July. I don't know exactly where we're at in August. My guess is it looks like it might be going higher. So, and reason I pointed out, this is their forecast. This was the official forecast. The red line and then the gray on either side is the margin of error they allow themselves to call it correct. Okay, or close enough to call it, hey, we were close enough, there you go. This is way outside of that. We've already overachieved. We've already beat Solar Cycle 24. Okay? There was not any month in Solar Cycle 24 that was even close to 200. Okay, yes, it was a low solar cycle, but they were saying we were supposed to be right around the same kind of thing. And we're not. So my point is, we're more active than what they forecasted, which, whatever, right? It's not like it's the end of everything. What I'm saying is that it does allow us to see things. Now, typically you'll get what they call the butterfly effect here, and you'll get 2 spikes. And there's another graph that I can show you. They call it the butterfly, what do they call that? They call it butterfly something, but, hey, cul-de-sac, thank you. Happy birthday to you. 2 months, baby. Heck yeah. Hey, anybody that is, that has memberships, guys, please use that free super chat. That's what he just did right there. Okay, that's a free super chat. If you guys are members, you guys get that, okay? Once a month, they give you a free super chat. What do I got here? Wages World birthday? Yeah, I know. I can't remember exactly what day I started. I'd have to go look. But yeah, I'd actually have to go back and look at the video because I had my the YouTube account like years before I did any content. So I don't know how we would figure that, but yeah. That's right, baby. Heck yeah. Quite a few years, huh? That's right, baby. Heck yeah. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Happy birthday. Oh, well, thank you, Ilea. Appreciate you. 100%. There you go. Thank you for the super chat. Truly do appreciate that. You guys are just so freaking awesome. That's all I can say. I don't even know what else to say. I mean, you guys just blow my mind every time. Hey, Otto Keith, good to see you, my brother. Woohoo! Rhonda, what's happening? All right, so let's do this. Let's I went over the sunspot numbers, right? So again, that's just showing that we're overachieving. So let me take you back to today, right here. This is Dr. Tony Phillips' website, right? Spaceweather.com. I bring you guys here all the time. But I'm going to show you, we're in the Perseid meteor shower. So what does that mean? We're going through the area of space right now. We go through it once a year. We know when it's going to happen, okay? So don't think it's anything weird, because it's not. Earth is passing through a stream of debris from Comet Swift-Tuttle. Okay? It's the annual Perseid meteor shower. We expect this. It'll peak tonight between the 11th and the 12th. Again, go outside, look for Aurora. How about catch some Aurora with some meteors shooting stars in it? Wouldn't that be cool? That would be freaking awesome. Anybody catches something like that, send it to me. I'll share it. And try to sell it too, would you? You can make some money off of that stuff, guys. I'm not kidding. You really can. I can't, because I don't have that equipment. But anyway, look, you see this? I've shown you guys this 1,000 times. That's 126 fireballs. Why are we getting so many fireballs? You guys know the answer to it already. Right here. Perseid meteor shower. There you go. It's that simple. Okay, so I'm bringing this to everybody's attention because there's going to be some people out here just blowing this way out of proportion. I mean, like completely just crazy with it, right? It's one thing to sit here and look at this thing and be like, "Oh, yeah, we got a lot of fireballs. That's way more normal. Wow, what's going on?" And you don't know the meteor shower's going on, right? It's another thing to know what's going on and then come out here and play it up like it's some big, humongous, just out of the blue, massive amount of fireballs flying through the sky, right? That's not what's happening at all. We're going through the meteor shower. There's going to be an increase in fireball reports. They're meteorites. They're shooting stars, that kind of thing. Meteorite, shooting star, same thing. They just get burned up before they hit the surface, typically. And if they do hit the surface of the Earth, guys, remember, our planet is about 70% water. So about 70% of the time, they're going to land in water. So anyway, we'll leave that at that. Now, we're also going to probably see an uptick in near-Earth asteroids or near-Earth objects that they miss, that they catch. Okay? This happens a lot in meteor showers. It's pretty obvious when we look at it, in the diameter of these things are small. Okay? That's what will happen. But we do typically see an uptick in these near-Earth objects when we go through this meteor showers. Okay? So don't think it's like crazy, crazy, crazy. Now, if you come over here and you see this graph and somebody has plotted something that missed the Earth by 0.01 lunar distance, and it's, what, 5,000 meters in diameter? Then I might worry about it. But typically, no, that ain't what you're going to see. Right? So, I will just leave it at that. Now, I thought I put... Hey, I thought I put Ilea's super chat up in there. I know I did. Hey, IG, good to see you. Hey, thank you for taking care of stuff in chat the other night. I just want to say thanks to you for that. You took care of that. You did the right thing. Okay? So thank you. Hadn't had a chance to talk to you since then. So there you go, Becca. What's up, girl? Love you. Oh, back at you. Back at you. That's right, baby. Let's hit that. Let's get some more likes in there. What time is best for the CT to look tonight for Aurora and Meteor, Connecticut? Let me let's take a look at that. That's a good question. Okay. Hate to say it, but your time might have passed. I don't know for certain. I can't say 100% here. But, yeah. If I'm looking at this the right way, if you come over here to the Aurora oval here, Connecticut's down here, right? So, you could probably go outside right now and try to catch some. But you would have to be away from city lights, and I would use your phone or your camera. Okay? That's about the only way you're probably going to see it right now. Because we're not deep into the night yet. You're probably still getting some overflow wash from the twilight and everything coming around. So my guess is you'll have some light pollution to deal with, and it's not going to be the best conditions. But also, I would also say this, guys. Typically, when it's cold, I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but the sky is cleaned out, and it does make it easier to see things. Thank you. Appreciate you, Nana. That's right. Look north, baby. Go outside and look north. Heck yeah. Unless you're in the southern hemisphere. If you're in Australia, look south. Dirty light? Yeah. Yeah. For sure, Hilly. For sure. Yeah, that's why it's so hard for Aurora photographers. Really, they have to deal with local weather all the time. They're kind of like, well, they're Aurora chasers. They're just like storm chasers. They will go out and travel just to try to find it. So, just look. That's right. Yeah, it sucks, Gunslinger. That does suck. But, yeah. Okay, guys. I am going to go ahead and end this. We are way long here. I did not want this to go this long, but we have stayed constant talk here. So thank you. Thank you guys for sticking with me here. I really, truly do appreciate it. Guys, remember, Dr. Tamitha Scove, Gobert, if you guys could, please, go drop some comments underneath her last community post. It's amazing how mean people can be when you're sick and stuff like that. And her and her daughter both have the COV-19, and there was some stuff going on over there underneath that in the chat. So let's take that negative and let's drown it out with some positive. All right, go tell her you're praying for her and sending good thoughts and all that kind of stuff, if you would. I'm sure she would appreciate that. Being sick and getting like attacked at the same time really sucks, and it's just not cool. So, that's what I would say. So, anyway, well, thank you, Idaho Keith. Appreciate you, brother, for real, brother. Red Wine Entertainment, baby, gratitude. That's right. See here, think. That's right. That's what we need to do. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I'm not going to get into it because I'm not having that conversation here. It's just I would, yeah. You don't have to go there and like try to take up for anybody. Just go over and drown out the negative with positive. That's the best way to deal with it. Let her know that there's more than just that negative crap out there. Okay? Well, thank you, miss. Appreciate you putting that link in there. Awesome. Awesome. Like I said, guys, best mods on the planet. Best mods on the planet. Yeah, we got to keep our prayers for everybody, guys. Seriously. I mean, we got a lot of people in our community struggling right now. Just with their health and just normal stuff. But that's what I would say. And if anything else happens, guys, you guys know I'm going to be here. Each and every time. And, that's how I roll. So, yeah, an hour and 20-minute live stream. Wow. I can't even believe that crap. Whoa, that's a long one. Anyway, we are going to go ahead and pop out. So, God bless. Surgery! Heck yeah! Thanks, Fan B. Appreciate you. Kathy! Aloha! God bless. Yahusha saves, and as always, you can drink this Kool-Aid.